everyone. Today we are going to be learning about scales. I am going to play a scale for you, and I want you to listen. So I just played a scale. I'm going to do it again, and I want you to count how many notes I played. Did you get it? One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I played 8 notes. Did it sound like that scale was going up or going down? Let's listen again. It was going up. I'm going to play it coming down. Did I skip any notes? Did it sound like I skipped anything or like I just kept going in order? I didn't skip anything. I went up consecutively through our scale and came right back down again. If I were to sing this scale, I could sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. A scale is an ordered sequence of notes. Back in February, Mrs. Zingone taught us about major versus minor. Does this scale sound like it's major or minor? I'll play it again. Did you say major? You're right, it's a major scale. If I were to make it a minor scale, it would sound like this. But it's not minor. We're going to be learning all about major scales. So now we're going to review our music alphabet. There's 2 things to know. First of all, I mentioned that in a major scale, there are 8 notes. If you look at our music alphabet, you may notice that there are only 7 letters of the music alphabet. That's because when you play a major scale, you start and end on the same pitch. So, for example, when we are playing the C scale, we begin on the note C, then we go up to D, E, F, G, A, B, and we end up on C, 8 notes, which we call an octave higher. So our C major scale uses the pitches C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. A major scale sounds like a major scale because of the pattern of intervals between each note. What's an interval? An interval is the space between 2 different notes. So there's a space in between any 2 notes you play. There's a space between these 2. As I'm doing this, I'm making the interval get bigger. But the only interval we need to know in order to build a major scale are whole steps and half steps. All right, I've zoomed in on my piano keyboard here a little bit. I'm going to play this note right here. This is C, or middle C to be exact. If I'm going from one white key to another white key and I'm skipping the black key in between, so there's something in between that I'm skipping, we would say that that is a whole step. Let's take a look at these 2 white keys right here. Between these 2 white keys, there is no black key. There's nothing I'm skipping. So that is a half step. The space between these 2 notes is closer together than the space between, for example, this note and this note. So again, if you're skipping something, you're going to 2 of the something right next to each other, but there's something you're skipping in between. So let's say I'm going from this black key to this black key right next to it, and I'm skipping this one in between, that is a whole step. If I'm going from that black key to the white key right next to it, that's a half step. Scales are made up of a pattern of half steps and whole steps. A major scale in particular uses the pattern in between its notes: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. If you start on any note on the piano and you follow that pattern, you can play a major scale. So it just so happens that the C scale follows that pattern without having to use any black keys. Now let's take a look at this virtual piano. As you notice, on this piano keyboard, sometimes we have two white keys next to each other with a black key in between, and sometimes we have two white keys next to each other without a black key in between. The way we're going to be talking about moving today is called intervals, and an interval is the space between two notes. The only intervals you need to know for our lesson today are whole steps and half steps. Whole steps and half steps. All right, between our first note of our scale, our do, and our re, we have a black key in between. So we're going to call that a whole step. If we gave these keys their letter names, this would be between the letter C and the letter D. There is a black key in between them that we're skipping over, so that is a whole step. If I were to go from C to the black key right above it, that would be a half step. Do you hear how those two notes are closer together? Ooh, when I play them at the same time, they sound very crunchy. Let's see if we can figure out the pattern of whole steps and half steps we use to play our C scale. So let's see, between C and D, we have a whole step. Between D and E, we have another whole step. Between E and F, we have a half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step, and then look what happens between B and C. Another half step. Our pattern of half steps and whole steps to make a major scale goes like this: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. If you play that pattern, you can start on any note and play a major scale. To remember that pattern, we're going to turn it into a rap. Ready? Here we go. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Whole, whole, half, whole, whole,